What's on here? Yeah, was good. It's your boy. It's coming down out there. Shout out to the fam. Manhattan holding it down for us. Appreciate you all. Mikey boy was good. I don't believe, regular conversation with people about the weather, and I don't believe meteorologists about the weather. It just happened to be they were all right. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I know. Kazoo, sunny out here, huh? I thought you would have been smashed. Oh, sunny where you are. My man, Kazoo. Love you, boss man. Where's boss man? Boss man. Life on the frozen tundra. You're right about that, Pat. Kate, where you been, Kate? You been waiting for some content. I ain't seen you. Unless I've been missing you in the chat. What up? Can it be? Oh, okay. What is that? 45 minutes from there? Michael? I'm about 5 minutes from there. Ah, grazie. Emmanuel. South Louisiana. Love when you're in my chat, brother. Shout out to South Louisiana. Love my Louisiana. Love that state. It's just not one city. I really do. If there's any state that I love them, listen, there's a few, but Louisiana's up there, my man. Finn Freak, good to see you jumped on early, bro. All right, Keith. I just know you've been worried about me. I got some heartfelt DMs from you, and I appreciate you looking out for me. So I was just making sure you was good. Not seeing you on here, but I've seen you in my DMs. Cincinnati. Oh, you got a little cold front up there. Right. 21 people. Hope everybody's well. Man. Supposed to be in Manhattan this whole weekend. Up in NYC. They were crushing the hotels and motels that used to be rat holes down in the Bowery. They looking to hit people in the head yesterday. Absolutely. Cleveland, welcome. It's the first time I've seen that last name on here. How do you say it? Aiden? Fogo? Oh, Siestrado. Hey, what are you doing? This got me buying all types of stuff online. Your boy don't shop anymore. We're strictly selling. Which, I don't even have it out. I wish I had it out. I had 50 of the Hootie Social Club t-shirts, and there's going to be a large going up for auction. If you haven't noticed, the Cash App is up now. Gazoo, haven't heard from him today, but NYC all week, yes. I spoke during the week. I will be checking in with him. 3 inches. Yeah. I did get snow 3 inches from me walking to the store. I posted the video. I mean, you can have the gloves, you can have the hats. It sits for years. You move them from one place to another place. It's the winter gear is always a hassle, especially the snow gear. So snow pants packed away. The right gloves packed away. The goggles I could have used packed away, but I had 4 pairs of sunglasses and prescription glasses that I could have wore. That snow was blowing hard. Mike Larry, appreciate that. It's at the top of the page. $ Hootie's Club. Can it be? That's the Cash App. It should be up on the front of the page. Really, Michael Blake? Just a foot in Providence? Because I got somebody up in Rhode Island that's telling me they got like 24 inches. Michael, are they bullshitting me up in Rhode Island? They're saying, Robert, about 2 feet. I said it on the video I posted, a short. I'm waiting for to hear the Central Park. You know, they go into Central Park every storm and they, snowstorm, and they do the measurement. They say that's where it falls the deepest. So I haven't got it yet, but I'm going to show you outside right now. You guys let me know. Down 101st Avenue, on the back of a certain friend of ours, Uncle's Green Bus Lines bus, Keith. Yes, kitchen on the back, down 101st Avenue. The Q8, back in the day. I thought Eddie Recca invented skitching and every other kamikaze thing that ever happened in that neighborhood. Yeah, Sonny, you got 20 inches on the island, so we had to get 24 where I am. Jersey got hit hard. Connecticut got hit hard. Island, I guess, 20 inches. The yous are always snowed in. Nobody plows anything in Long Island. Yeah, CT got, some parts got 18 in Connecticut. That, what'd you call it, Finfreak? Bumper skiing? We used to call it skitching. On the back of anything that drove by. Chinese delivery guy, old couple not paying attention, neighborhood guys, buses, you name it. We was jumping on the back of it, skitching down 101st Avenue. Man, Pat, I got a video that I put out. You could see from like here to here how red my face got. I know tomorrow I'm going to have some good color. Can it be? It's all you gotta do is punch in the $ Hootie's Club. All right, hey, you're closer to New York. Yeah, all right. I'm thinking about a little bit deeper in. So you're probably like 40 minutes from the city. They didn't get 14 inches, probably big for them, being that close to Manhattan. Yeah, Robert, that was one that besides going to shovel and trying to make a few dollars in Howard Beach without getting chased out or beat up or a wise guy telling us we had to do it for free. Skitching was all we waited for when it snowed like this. I'm reading it, man. Absolutely. They don't have a clue. The problem is they always want to break balls with the Sicilians. So everything with them is Nabali Don. So half the time they don't even know what they're talking about. Rick, what's good? They traded Aaron Rodgers to the Bucks. What's that mean for his card? I hope it's moving. Aaron Rodgers to the Bucks. I thought he was going to be a franchise player. Good to see that Schmitty Steaks is back. Love your emoji, you scumbag. Is he really retiring? You know, they did the stats at the end of the year. I was watching ESPN real quick, and Brady was 3. Could you imagine at his age? Percentage, touchdowns, throwing, yards. He was number 3. I think he had 7. His percentage was like 745, and there was only 2 other people above, 2 other quarterbacks above him. I don't even know why he would retire. They were this close, and I'm not into sports right now like I used to be, but just, peeking my head in throughout the season, he was that close to getting himself to the Super Bowl this year. Just too much talent. The card business is going to be terrible next year for the rookies-wise, because all these guys, these Burrows and all these other guys have been monsters. Josh Allen, where did he come from? This other guy, right? Was he a Greek guy on New England? That's supposed for New England now. Patrick Doyle, what's good? Yeah, just a little bumped up and bruised. Got a few procedures and got some surgeries coming up. But other than that, I'm in good shape. We used to bumper ski off the Nat Guard trucks during the blizzard of 78. Nat Guard trucks. Where's that, Fin Freak? I'm trying to think. Because we were doing, what was it, February? Gazoo, February 84? The snowstorm in New York? Where you couldn't open up your front door? Yeah, to have somebody dig you a tunnel. It was one of the worst snowstorms ever in New York City. We skitched for about a month. Sure, Robert. Bayside, you guys knew. Up and down Bell. By 7-Eleven. The LIRR stop. I got you, Robert. Yeah, 45. There you go. I said 40, eh? Yeah, so you got that foot to a foot and a half range. He must. I don't pay no mind. Remember that? Sal on my block hit Tommy Hogan in the face with that. He wanted to kill him. A frozen snowball. Hit him right in the eye from the window. Blasted his eye bloody. Frozen snowballs. Keith, I think you were around for that. Yeah, that's where they used to push everything to the corners, right into the corners. And then you walk with your friends and, the smallest and the one you always broke his chops the most, you pushed them into it. Who was that? Little Derek? Remember Derek back in the day? Was the smallest out of all of us? He was the one tripping and doing the pushing, a little troublemaking bastard. Yeah, Tommy caught a bad that year. Frozen snowballs, man. You can't play with them. They're scumbags, Westies. That's why. I'm going to give you guys a little content. We're just getting to know each other. I'm going to give a little one on Ronnie's story. I always got content. We're on here saying hello. What's going on? We're in the middle of a blizzard. Guys are talking about boring. What am I supposed to be on here talking bad about somebody? Wrong guy. I always got a good content story. We're here just trying to get to know each other right now. We're going to take a look outside. What I really wanted to show you is when a few people got on. So I went to the store. I had everything already in the crib, right? But I wasn't going to be here this weekend. Driveway now. If I show you a guy that's been trying to dig his BMW out down the driveway that's about the size of a football field, and I made it to the front of his driveway, and there's 2 feet of snow for about 20 feet. He's not even going to make it anywhere through that he's trying to dig himself out in the back. Yeah, I'm going to give you 2 of them. Since it's a snow day, I'm going to give you one of his snow story. That's what I called it, Anita. And I appreciate the gesture from yesterday. He didn't tell me. He still didn't tell me. So I'm gonna have to cut him loose. But mine is up now. But I seen what you did there, and that is appreciated. And I'll be appreciative for him. The gesture is always what matters. But yes, the Mickey Mouse Mafia. Make a snowman. What are you watching, Frozen? So, I was only going to the store to get drinks because I was supposed to be in Manhattan this whole weekend. But the fam's looking out for me today, laying up in the crib. And I'm on a water kick because I'm flushing my system from the booster shot. Of course, someone brought up bandana in the chat the other day. Of course, Frankie and John. 89th Street and Jamaica Avenue. New Hyde, please. What's New Hyde, Robert? New Park's not even on the top 5, if that's what you mean. 2 places in Queens. Mario's, Lefferts Boulevard, the best regular slice you can get besides the Farrows, and Ozone Pizza has got, to me, the best Sicilian made in all the 5 boroughs. Everywhere, except I haven't tried Italy, is Ozone Pizza first, the corner Sicilian. For what? We're going to do with that. For this snow, you'll be bouncing off the walls. The Westies, come on. Not where I am, Joseph. Still going. I do know about Forex trading. I stay away from it. I'm an XRP guy. New Park is trash. You know, I spoke to somebody that told me when they changed the sauce, it goes right through you. You got to go run home and use the bathroom. You can eat a whole pie, and then you got to run right home and use the bathroom. Yes, Vito's still there. The recipe's still the same. They fixed it up. The only reason why I don't go that much anymore, because Howan is new owners. They said they didn't change cooks. They didn't say they changed recipes. And the chicken, the pork, the sliced roast pork, which wasn't that bad at Wohop just recently, except the sodium was terrible. Somebody knows about that on here. But, yeah, I would get down there. But just for that anymore, you know, if I'm passing through on the A train, I'll do it. So I had everything, you know, not really munchies. I had a few cannolis and some civettes, you know, the cookies, the white ones. So I just needed something to drink. I had nothing to drink in the house because I wasn't going to be here. You know what I mean? I was going to be in Manhattan for the whole weekend. That, like I said, the fam's looking out for me today. So not one drink in the house. So I'm on a big Pellegrino kick, right? But this place here only has cans. And they usually charge, you know, you buy the 3-pack for a certain, the salt from Wohop. Yeah, that's what I just said. I said, there's probably one, the roast pork was good, but the MSG was killer at Wohop that night we went. So I walked to get I could only carry back 1 case. I wasn't bringing back 3 because I don't got the car right now, so I'm walking. So I go in, and we already know the shelves are empty with the grocery stores, with everything going on in the country. But with the blizzard, and I never been to this store, for the price of, you know, you get 3 for the price of 1. You know how they used to do it with the sodas? 3 for $11.99. Well, Pellegrino with the cans, they do that because they didn't have the bottles. Yeah, Anthony, this was the mixed one. Yeah, usually I just get the regular, but this was the mixed one. So he had the packs like you would buy the Coke, but I like Sal Keith. How can I forget that? That that used to be my number one favorite regular slice. Flores Pizza between Fort Bell and Elditz Lane on Liberty Avenue and City Line. And what a lot of people didn't know, because my father would have broke my hole back then, you can't eat lasagna outside the house or baked ziti or anything like that stuff. Shells, marigot, that stuff you only eat at home, right? And Flores Pizza made a good lasagna and a good baked ziti. But he had the second best slice to the Pharaohs in Brooklyn. Absolutely. Absolutely. Forgot all about him. Best regular slice around when I was a kid. And then I got introduced to the Pharaohs, which is amazing. Scotto's. Where's that? In Bayside, Anthony? Is that what you said? And I remember Keith, you could go up there and he'd give you, because we actually used them for delivery after I moved out of City Line, and he would deliver to us. Famous Rays in Manhattan. You live in Manhattan, Rick? So he would deliver to us, and you would get a thing of baked ziti. It would probably be $70 in La Villa for like $8. Sal was a good guy. Remember, he owned the building that Joey lived in that used to play wiffle ball with us. His mother was Rosemary. Sal owned that building as well, down 101st Avenue. Next to Joe the Barber. Take Two Video. Take Two Video. Yeah, back in the 60s or something, they said. So there's a famous race in Verona. I could get to Verona. Where? Where's there a good pizza place out in Suffolk? Because I couldn't find a good slice. Yeah, Keith, that's why I'm glad you brought that up. He was a great man. I remember all the women had a crush on him, too. He was a good-looking Italian, Sal. God rest his soul. Sleep in peace. Flores Pizza. You know, it's funny. Gino, what are you doing, Adrian? Listen, that's what today's the days where you binge watch the Rockies, the Rambos. You know what I mean? You put the old stuff in. I know everybody's a Rocky 4 guy. Hootie's a Rocky 3 guy. Clubber Lang whips Rocky's ass, and the Mick dies. By goodies. All right, Aldo owned that building where Kati's coffee shop was. That's why she was able to put a coffee shop there. The building next to it was Sal's, where Take Two Video was. That was Sal's building. That's where Rosemary lived with Joseph Fossetti, who we all played wiffle ball with as kids. It's your boy, Joy Stay Steve Costanza. I'm hoping he does. He didn't even get it. He exhausted his last appeal. They didn't even give him a chance to put the appeal in. They denied him before. They denied the paperwork for the appeal. And that was his third time. So that was his last. Unless he gets a compassionate plea, because I heard he's out of Lewisburg now. He was like cadre at Lewisburg, meaning he worked there. They made Lewisburg into a gang jail. But he got to stay there because he was on the work shift. And they kicked him out of Lewisburg. Now he's with, I know he's with a lot of good guys now. I hope they do. I hope they give him a compassion plea, because there was no reason for the time they gave that man. Yeah. $ Hootie's Club with an S. That's the real one. $ Hootie's with an S Club. There you go. Reed Bosch Gennaro. He's got it right down. But yeah, I hope they do, Richie G, because I was there for both trials, and no way should that man be doing the time he's doing. That one trial was a 3-year bid, but he didn't do it. He went to trial, blew and got 20. Yeah, she used to have Keith knows. That's why he was talking about goodies next to Party Pals. Yeah, you know that Goody's brother was a famous actor. They didn't talk. They didn't get along. It was the greatest candy store ever, but all the candy was expired and stale. All you gotta do is put the dollar sign in the search bar with Hootie's Club. Even as scary as she sound, she still was nicer than him. She wasn't scary at all. For that, most kids would have got scared. No, he was more scarier. He looked like he'd take you in the back and play with you. Party Palace. You talking about Party Pals? Not Party Palace. That guy was a fucking shrewd old scumbag. One of those, ex-Marine types from the old school that just didn't like anybody, including his wife. That was the first store, if you all remember, that got Lotto. And then the whole neighborhood became degenerate Lotto players, all the working class people, all the poor people. And the lines for Lotto Day would be around my corner, where I lived, from Party Pals all the way around my corner to play Lotto, because he had the only Lotto machine in the neighborhood. And then Art, remember Art, who Joey worked for? He bought him out and made it into the TV repair store. And you know what's funny? When they opened that store, they had a bunch of Nintendo games that they couldn't get rid of, and they were all sealed. And he asked me if I wanted them. I never played video games when we were kids because we couldn't afford it. So I never knew how to play it. Today, I think I seen Zelda go for $500,000. You get them graded today by CGC. They grade them, and you sell them at auction. And they're big money. Shogun, Gunsmoke, what was it, 1942, Helicopter, Teleheli, whatever those things. All those Nintendo games are sealed. Big money. Appreciate it, Costanza. There you go. Fireball. I got a person around me, that's all they ever talk about in the cold is Fireball. No, I don't know what he was, Michael. He just acted like that. I don't know if he was. That's why I said X. I don't know if he was. That's why I didn't call him a former. He just acted like a drill sergeant. Yeah, money. You think he's cool? Yup. No, that's why I was bringing him up. It's funny because Keith brought up Flora's Pizza, and Joey's mother was the super of the building for Sal. Remember, she used to mop. That's the first time I ever seen. We know Nona used to clean the floors with the vinegar. Couldn't understand that. The whole house smelled like vinegar instead of Clorox. And Josephine used to clean the hallway floors with a rag and a stick. And that's how they mopped it, the hallways. Oh, that's so funny. Joey Munger. Do I know him, Keith? R.I.P.? Who's Joey Munger? The Joey we're talking about is Joey Fossetti. He worked in the video store. Manhattan Special, somebody brought up. Yes. You got to taste the new ones. So, yeah. So, the guy wound up robbing me. He charged me for one sleeve of the Pellegrino what you get for 3. I guess because of the snowstorm. And it was a hole in the wall where I live. But what I did find, and I only went for drinks. Yeah, he had two last names because they didn't know who his father was. His mother was a botana. So they got the reduce. Remember these? They didn't have pumpkin seeds. I was looking for. They got the reduced sodium. Hearts, yeah. He died? Joey died? Fossetti? You're saying, Keith? And for us old school guys, I went out on a limb and got a bag of bugles, guys. I couldn't believe I found a bag of David sunflower seeds. So it's got to be new because there was never reduced sodium in them things. The cholesterol would be 500. But look, we found bugles too. I couldn't believe it. So it wasn't bad. I got bugles and sunflower seeds for the snowstorm and got ripped off on the Pellegrino. No, he's actually fighting to come home now. Something with the case, Richie. The first lawyer screwed up or something. So supposedly he might have an earlier date. We'll see. Really? Well, you know what? When we were kids, they were a little bit of money. So we've always bought the cheaper ones. But just the point that they've been around forever was nostalgic. So I grabbed them. I'm not big on that kind of junk food, but I seen them and I said, never ate Funyuns. I don't know. They just sounded like fungus for some reason when I was a kid. Yeah, right, Gino. But let's put David Ortiz in. A DH. Listen, there's nobody who was a bigger Yankee fan than me. And if anybody should go in with 100% of the votes, should have been Derek Jeter. Not a relief pitcher. All right, 88 mile an hour cutter, the Sandman. I understand it all. But Jeter's the only guy that should have went in hands down with 100% of the votes. Class act, stellar career, but he didn't do good with the Journal. You know, the journalists hated him because he just never gave good interviews. In Marlboro, I don't know it exactly, but it's not for like another 7 years, 8 years. Jason, good to see you on here. Yeah, but they never caught him during the season. Big Poppy, I don't care if the man was a natural home run hitter, because he either hit a home run or made an out. I don't even know what his lifetime average was because he was a legitimate DH. He couldn't play in the National League back then. There's no way he should have ever made the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he never did a steroid. There's no way. And you got to remember, how about Barry Bonds? Did you see the record? A lot of people were looking at me like I was crazy. No one realized how many stolen bases Barry Bonds had. Because he was a unit. That's how everybody remembers Barry Bonds. You know, his head grew 3 sizes. He couldn't make it to first base. But my man had like record-breaking stolen bases for years. What do you mean? Greg Maddux didn't make the Hall of Fame? Really? No, not with that. Not as many wins as he had. No. You can say he was clutch once in a while, Pat. He wasn't clutch as fuck. Manny Ramirez was clutch as fuck. Derek Jeter was clutch as fuck. Poppy, he was just a monster. I seen him ground out with bases loaded many a times. But I've also seen them walk him with bases loaded. I've seen that in the playoffs. So, yeah. That was the era that I've ever seen. That for me, that was the first time I've ever seen guys being walked with bases loaded. Manny Ramirez, A-Rod on Texas, and Big Poppy. There was a few of them. Sure. How can we not? Keith? That's home away from home. Do you know that if you go back and look at the original building on the top, his father who we know, and then the Jimmy, the brothers, one of them died. That worked there also. They lived in the building, but the main pharmacist's father was John. His father was and on the building it said John's Pharmacy in the brick, because it was bricked in John's Pharmacy, and it was there for years. For years, just like Father and Sons. There's a laundromat there now. They put a sign over Father. If they rip that sign down, you'll see the black sign and you'll see the white imprint of Fathers and Sons. Oh, come on. Guys like Griffey, Strawberry, those guys were, that lefty swing was amazing. Griffey was stellar. Probably, and an unbelievable all around true top 10, probably all around baseball players, top 10, offense and defense. Yup, it's still in the building. You know something? I went up around your way and I passed the old Woolworths and Kenny's. They named the whole building where Kenny's used to be. It's still called Kenny's. They redid the whole building. It's a different kind of store now. And it says Kenny's on the front. I couldn't believe I took a picture and sent it to somebody that's in our chat right now. Because we were talking about Kenny's the night before at WOHOP. And then the next day, I'm driving down City Line, Liberty Avenue. I jumped out the sunroof and snapped a picture. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, you know why? What they did in the 80s, that was the era where they packed all the cards up and sent them back. They couldn't make money. If you go back now, even the Griffey rookies, Gem Mint 10s aren't worth what they should be. Cards with the 80s killed baseball cards. And I remember some great years. And we got a big Met fan in here for 86. And I just, I didn't like the Mets because of the fans. But I went to more Met games as a kid than I did Yankee games. I mean, I was so happy when you guys got David Cohn in 87 from Kansas City. Jerry's Record Store. How about the dust on those records? He still had 45s in the 80s. You didn't know where anything was. Nothing was organized. But when you asked him for a record, he knew exactly where to go to get it. And he had no shame putting a dusty record inside a bag. And a lot of times, he would give it to you without the cover and ask you mind? And just put it in those old brown paper, skinny, flat bags. Jerry's Record Shop, next to Pat's Shoe Outlet. There you go. I was waiting for you to pop in with the Keith Hernandez. 2023. I was waiting. I said it. I'm waiting to see the Met fan pop into the chat. 80s baseball. Yeah. I wish I had the money. I would have collected as a kid and still had them. Appreciate that, Dobie. So let's take a look outside, guys. If you want to see outside, and I'll give you a Ronnie story, and we'll stay on. Look at this. Not on. That was me. The guy was trying to dig out over here. And you don't realize if he gets up to the front of the driveway, listen to me. It's about 20 feet back. And it might be much more because they piled it up when there's a main road out there. But you're talking about, it's got to be an easy. I knocked this down at my door, guys. And it was about a foot. So that means it had to be at least 2 feet out there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the tape measure, the one that could go down. That, you know, Keith, the one in St. Sylvester's that the nuns used to hit you with, the yardstick. They used to tell you to put your knuckles out. Keith? Wait, Keith can't remember. Keith can't remember that, Gazoo. When you and the guy on the other side from me were kids, I heard that's where you guys used to go watch the kung fu movies all day. I only remember that place as Odd Lot. That was my mother's favorite place. The security guard loved her. Odd Lot. ABCs, Ronell's. ABCs was her favorite, right? Socks, underwears. Dobie, I'm gonna try to get up a good one. He's a very touchy subject for some people. There's somebody that sits in here from the neighborhood and they get upset, and I like to keep his memory because if you watch my John and Gene interview, I got very emotional. It was like a little brother to me, and there was some great stories. Even jail stories were funny in the state. You had a lot of respect upstate. Oh, all right, Gazoo, you remember when they opened it? Yes. She used to walk one side of the street up and then get to Odd Lot, cross over, spend half the day in there, and walk the other side down. Because Ronell's was on the side going up. That's where we all got our communion outfits for St. Sylvester's and our Capizios. Keep Pizios at his and hers. Dave's. For St. Sylvester's. And couldn't get no play on that basketball team, no matter how good I was. They only let the kids from the projects play. They never gave me playtime in St. Sylvester's. I don't have them, Joseph. I didn't have the money to buy them as a kid. I said, if I had the money, I'd still have the cards. Yeah, you remember that, Gino? A street boss. It's a street legend, Mobland. Absolutely a street legend. Ran his own crew, you know? Odd Lot, yeah. What was that? Lincoln. Lincoln. What was that? What was the record store? It was on the same side as Odd Lot, but you just had to cross the street. Yeah, beautiful. Actually, the guy that owned that was from Howard Beach. His doors were beautiful. That's right. It wasn't even like a guy from City Line. A guy from Howard Beach owned that record store. What was that record store? Was that Autumn Avenue? It had to be across the street from what was that? John's Pizza? On Lincoln and Liberty? The Haven movie theater. I never got to see that. All I did was hear about it. And that's where yeah, all the Bruce Lee flicks. That's all I heard about. You missed it because everybody, I was the biggest Bruce Lee fan around. Anthony Mano, where'd you go? You retracted I see on Facebook, you jumped on for the first time on my IG, and then you retracted your message? You didn't want to talk about City Line? I know you know City Line, Anthony, if you're still on here. He's Uncle's age. What was that deli over on Centerville by Cross Bay? I lived in Centerville. That's where I had my house. Centerville it was CNC Deli, but that wasn't Cross Bay. That was the road that led to Old Howard, around the corner from my house, by Centerville Park. Who was I just talking to somebody about the rice balls? I used to sit down in there, and they were asking, you could go in there, and there'd be a Colombo captain, because the place was a banana joint. And there'd be a banana Vinny be in there, because it was Jack, his nephew's place. CNC Deli. Centerville by Cross Bay, there's no deli. There's only CNC Deli in Centerville. And that's the road that leads into Old Howard, Comanche Street. Funny guy, Rick. So he he came later on. He didn't roll. That was just when it was five of us with Frankie Boy. He came later on. His brother didn't want him around. You know, he was going to school. He was working at Rome Review. He was playing ball. He was unbelievable in sports, and he let it slip. But the thing was that I ended up in a jail up by Canada, and it happened to be that Frankie Boy was there. I didn't know that because where I visited him wasn't in that place. This place was 10 hours from New York, and they would tell we had a softball team, and they would tell me about a Italian kid from Howard Beach, and the girls' prison was on the other side, and he was a lefty, so it was a lot easier. You know, the lefties always had it easier, but he was a power hitter, and he always would hit the ball. They would get mad and put it on the girls' dorms, and it was a far shot. And I'm telling you, for like 3 months, I couldn't get. And then they said it. They said they used to call him Frankie Boy. Spanish kid told me. He was there for a minute. And I was like, holy shit. And then I called him. I called his father from up there, the house. And I left a message. And he wound up getting back to me. And he named everybody in the jail. He won trophies. He hit the most home runs. So I come home and I start a softball team. And, you know, lefties, you start with a strike in softball, a 1-on-1 count. So you only get 2 swings. He had the most foul outs out of everybody on the team. He hit the most home runs. He used to hit the ball on the other side of Canada, upstate. I come home, I start a softball team, and he had the most foul outs out of anybody on the team. Because all he did kept pulling the ball foul. Pulling the ball foul. So I think it was Washington, and you know, it was always he had, you know, adopted his brother's nickname, which was short of their last name. And so when me and him, we'd be in the clubs or anywhere we would be, nobody would understand what we were talking about, but we put up the rock sign like Rockefeller. And that's what it meant. So he knew I was coming to visit him, and there was a few other guys in that jail. Other guys were visiting, but I came to visit him. So I'm sitting waiting for him, and he comes out, and he's walking after getting searched, and he stops at the door, and he puts up the rock sign, and I thought he was the Rockefeller sign, and I thought he was doing it to me because that's what we used to do in the clubs. And the whole fucking visiting room floor put up the rock sign, the Rockefeller sign. He had everybody in the jail he was in Washington. It was for younger guys putting up the sign. I'm pretty sure it was Washington. I'm not, to be clear. But he had everybody that was in the visiting room that was an inmate put up the sign. I thought it was just to me. I didn't catch that everybody else knew. So those are the fond memories that I want to remember. And we broke his balls about fouling out. He had the most foul outs of the whole season. He was the only lefty on the team. And he just kept pulling the ball in every park. Anthony, there you go. Anthony Minga. This guy, he'll talk Ozone Park all day. Tell him. I love your post on Facebook. I love to see that smile in the middle of that miserable city. Wrong button. Minga, the best of times. Ozone Park. Goomba. I was good friends with you. I know you know the whole family. McDonald's, Aldo's, the 80s. Tapping into the light for the radio. My mother would come downstairs with the baseball bat on 101st Day. I was going to tell the story in my content about Roy Greco, about the kid getting stabbed in Howard Beach at Laces. And they wanted to blame him, and they brought my uncle in for the sit-down with John Sr. before he was boss. Yeah, that kid. I was going to tell the old school Laces stories. You know, I was a kid. I was there. I just wasn't there for the fight. Geronimo, God rest his soul, who just passed away recently from cancer, he was outside with the with the things they used to, keep the people out. The metal ones, they make them in plastic now, knocking guys out from Howard Beach with them. Yeah. Ozone Park days, McDonald's, Anthony Fats, Roy Greco, all of them. Priola, Richie Skates, all the old school guys. I can't believe how many old school crews I was around. That was my first old school crew, was the McDonald's crew. Then the 77th Street Boys, which were the older guys, Paulie Mack and all of them, Johnny Moose. Then it was the 88 Park guys. But McDonald's was my first old school, older guys. And McDonald's kicked ass. Kept that neighborhood in line. Had some tough bastards. Big Tom. Like I said, Roy Greco was probably the toughest guy in the neighborhood at the time. I seen him lift up the back of the limousine once. He thought that thing was real. If you lift the car up high enough, you set the alarm was going off. You could undo the alarm. Yeah, it didn't work. He got it off the ground, but he didn't get it high enough. New drop, Staten Island. What's that? New Dorp? What is that? Remember Danny from Centerville? Called him Doobie Dan? Yeah, you talking about the one that used to cook for C&C Deli. I love little Danny. He got me jammed up helping him out once. Wow. The only story I was going to tell was the first time we all went to Vegas together, Doobie. I swear, you got to be one of the 5 that hung out with us. Gino, the meatballs went today. There you go, Boss Gennaro. Let them know. Money sign, Hootie's Club, new Cash App. Nah, the plane ride's too long for me. But a lot of my relatives and people I knew, I don't like small airplanes. And years ago, you'd fly into Rome or Palermo, and then you would fly, not Palermo, I'm sorry. You'd fly into Rome, and then you'd fly either into Palermo on a smaller plane. And I would never do it. It was 8 hours to Italy at the time. That's when the Concorde was still going to Europe. So no, okay. I do want to get there. There's only 3 places that I want to go that I want to leave the country now. And Israel's one. I want to, do that whole walk the Holy Land. Cairo, of course, that's a big one. And Italy. Those are the only 3 places that I want to see outside the country. Appreciate it, Jesse. So, any Italians left in Ozone Park? No. Not the Ozone Park where we come from. Maybe South Ozone Park, there's still a few families. But there's no Italians left in the Ozone Park. There's definitely no Italians left in City Line. Wow. This Schmitty scumbag comes under different names. Defeat Addiction, the Junkie Crew. Rick, I wish I could say I did. But if anything, I would have loved to have the 87. That was the Ferrari of my time. Few people have 5.0 Mustangs. Everybody, with IROC Zs. But to have the Grand National GNX 6-cylinder, the T-Type, I can name them. Forget about it. Oh, really? How long was that, Michael? Black 17. Big Daddy from Ozone Park put me onto that number, getting into the casinos when I was 17 years old. We used to play $100 Black 17. And it's not, and you know what? It's funny because my father's birthday was the 16th. and he didn't like his birthday, so he always played the 17th. He never played it, and I don't know why I don't like odd numbers, but the only number I play on roulette is I'll go buy, and if I $100 or better on a black 17. That's it. I'm not a roulette player, but I stop by. The Wheel of Fortune gets a $100 bill, and the roulette wheel gets a $100 17. If I'm doing better, but I mean it's been 10 plus years. I haven't gambled in a long time. Gave it up. '69 yellow Stingray back then. Wow, beautiful car, Rick. So quick, it's funny. So it was a bad snowstorm like this. 96 was a bad one, so I'm getting the years mixed up. The movie house. You're talking about where they used to rent the movies on 78th Street by the dentist. Right? Keith? So, for Black Vegas for 25. So, we never wore coats. So, that was the suit days. And I used to just run by, and it would be the dollar machine or the $5 machine, whichever one I could find, because those machines just kept wrapping you around. So it was in the door, out the door, $100 bill, three spins. If I hit a jackpot, the 1,000, the 500, I walked out, cashed the ticket out. And it went the same thing with the roulette wheel. Blackjack was always my game. And if I had to kill some time, if I was going to be there for a whole weekend, if it was a UFC fight or something like that going on, I went down and played Hold'em. Next to the dentist, yeah. And right next, wasn't it in between Vito the barber? That was John Sr.'s barber, Vito. Remember Vito? I think John Sr. was his only customer. Nobody ever let that guy cut his hair. He always used to hire the hot girls to cut hair, so people would come in. I was a nobody, Mobland. Just a kid that grew up on 101st Avenue. Yeah, that was 77th Street. He died, Gazoo. John Caggiano. He lived up the block from us on 76th Street on the right side. Used to have the big Chevelle. And he worked for the Long Island Railroad. He was an electrician for the Long Island Railroad. John Caggiano. Mr. Caggiano was the father on the Boy Scout shop across the street from Savaroli's on 77th Street and 101st Avenue. Your brother's friend was with him, and they told him not to go near a live line. The line was live. And I said, don't worry about it. And the LIRR, he was an electrician, and he touched the line, got electrocuted to death. John Caggiano. That was like Tommy Ho's big brother. He used to look up to him. Remember the guy who sold, Junior Shoes, Anthony? The guy lived in front of my house. He used to keep an old 45 in one of those shoes at night because the neighbor was so crazy to protect all the women. My mother and all the older, I say older ladies, I'm older than when my mother passed away. It just, when you think about it, you always thought your mother was so much older back then. But they all used to sit out in front of with the lawn chairs from the spring until Labor Day. And Junior Shoes used to hang out with all of them. He used to get very upset. He broke his balls and told them, him and Mary Ann were girlfriend and boyfriend. Remember, everybody said it. I'm not going to. Crazy Mary that lived in the building above the old Superette. They used to go enjoy the barber and get their balls broken. Junior Shoes used to lose his mind. They lived on Drew Street, and that's where my family first lived, on the Brooklyn side. They lived on the Queens side of Drew Street. My family lived on the Brooklyn side, and they lived up the block. His father was a Korean War veteran. He used to talk to the father all the time. He didn't get along with the family. The brother was a skinny guy. He used to have the big chops. Anthony, we could talk City Line, 101st Avenue for hours. We could talk. Everybody, every character up and down that avenue. Wow, Roy Greco. Listen to me. Roy Greco was like Superman when I was a kid. I used to wait to go to school in the morning, and he'd be going to work, and he would do the craziest shit. And I remember I was like 6 years old. Watch Roy knock somebody's head off at 7:30 in the morning. They probably were like the last breed of dinosaurs. 98th Street off Atlantic Avenue. 98th Street. By the trestle. There was a bakery over there. Used to make the turn. If you were going towards Jamaica, used to make the right. And it used to wind around. Right, Anthony? Controlled torture. Told you, I never had a thing with that guy. And he was a street guy? Dobie? I have no clue. I never did a single thing with him. Not one. He wanted to do 1,000 things. I never answered him once. Yeah, Gazoo, she did. And she took it like a champ. She took it. She used to blush when they used to call her and Junior. Irish Coffee. He's your boy. She used to blush when they used to call Junior her boyfriend. You got tomorrow. Don't worry about it, Rick. Sunday. If today was Sunday, then you were in a little bit of trouble for Monday for work. Whoa. He is. I actually just got done talking about his father, if you listen to the CNC Deli story. Ryan's a very good friend of mine. Very good friend of mine. He was actually I met him through Frankie Boy. He's one of Frankie Boy's close best friends. Ryan's working with Bay 8. Good for him. Ryan Lucido's father he lived around the corner from me in Centerville. His father was one of the best guys around. He's not doing too well. Shout out to Ryan Lucido. Great kid. Someone just sent me a picture of him the other day when they were kids. Him, Frankie Boy, Gene, all of them together by Centerville. They couldn't have been more than 15. Yeah, I said he used to cook for them at CNC Deli. Is that who you're talking about? I said I helped him out a few times, and he wound up getting me in a jam because I liked little Danny. Right? He married a girl named Jeannie. He's got like 2 or 3 kids. I like Danny a lot, but he got me in a jam. He put me in a bad jam. And then he met me somewhere, and I was parked, and I was walking up the block to meet him, and he was parked in front of my car, and somebody backed up out of a driveway and took my whole rear door out of my 91 Park Avenue. When I got there, I said, "Who did that?" He was so whacked out. He was like, I never seen it. The guy took out my whole driver's side of my Park Avenue. The front door and the back door. Backing out of a driveway. Sure. I'd get off the phone for sausage and peppers too. Throw a little potato in there. Ryan's father passed? Man. He had light hair, Richie. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're thinking of there's another doobie, but his name is not Danny. Ricky's brother. You only get the truth from me, Dobie. Guy couldn't get a return answer. Appreciate that, Boss Gennaro. Money sign, Hootie's Club. New Cash App. Oh, absolutely, Martin. Hootie282. At Hootie282 on my IG. And I'll give you the information. Yeah, it won't allow me to get to you, Martin. If you just send me either your DM or just go to Hootie282 and hit me up. And the information's in there. Absolutely. I'm all over that. Gino, I never knew. I thought that I think the only thing I'm addicted to is clothes because I don't have an addicted personality. I've never been addicted to nothing. I thought I was addicted to gambling. I really did. And the day that came and I didn't have a dollar to gamble, I never gambled again. I didn't go out commit crime. Drugs was my thing. Bookmaking was my thing. Shylocking. Never stole nothing. So I probably wouldn't be a good thief. But when I knew I wasn't going out to earn money to gamble, but maybe that's why I never knew when to lay off. '04 Yankees was my retirement. I had a guy that buried me, and I was burying myself. Besides holding bets, the guy bet Boston to win the series, laid off. Boston's down 3-0. I don't got to go through the story, right? Boston's down 3-0. He comes back, Vegas odds, and bets Boston to win the World Series, the American League Championship. The odds were insane. I gave it to him with no problem. And then every night, he bet Boston after that. And I was betting the Yankees. I didn't bet the Yankees to win the series when they were up 3 because the odds were terrible for me. But I bet them in the beginning. And then I bet them when they were up 3-0 every night. How could they not win one game? So not only was I getting banged as a bookmaker, taking my own bets, booking all my own action, and I was burying myself with 4 different bookmakers. I was upside down in '04 in a bad way. And that ended my bookmaking career. In '96, he was a kid then. He was 13 years old, Dobie, in '96. No, he tried to be, but he wasn't. Never straightened out. Came around all the time. Played the part. Abused guys that he can get away with abusing. But no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't around when Dom came home. He might have straightened them out when he came home, but I haven't. I heard about a lot of guys getting straightened out. I never heard about him getting straightened out. Nick Lynn, I don't know. Come on, Dobie. I don't block people. I don't go on, and I'm going to be honest with you, and waste my time to go through the procedure of blocking people. Did you not just see how many people were on here saying the things they were saying? Why would I block him? He actually said that he actually wrote in one of his last messages, I just ignore him because I don't want nothing to do with him. It's not my cup of tea. It's not what I want to get involved with. I'm doing just fine. But he told me that I blocked an Albanian kid that was a supporter. I'm like, he popped up out of nowhere, and I went and I looked. I went out of my way to look, and he wasn't blocked. And I wrote the kid. And he said, I thought you did. It was just because I don't answer, because I don't go on IG. Dangerous? He's a cop. I don't go near him. I want nothing to do with him. He got his button for being Ronnie. He put work in before and after he got his button. C-Note. Good to see you in here. With who? What do you bet with? Vandal? Keith? With the Cash App? You calling sports bets in? Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. I try to. I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to win by not keeping it that way. And I got nothing else. I've lost it all. Why not hold it down by keeping it real? Oh, my man from Strong Island. Salute, Wise Guy TV. If anybody hasn't subscribed yet, go over and subscribe to Wise Guy TV. He's a good kid. He's got his shit together. He knows what he's doing. His channel's good. And you'll like his stuff. He doesn't try to be somebody he's not. Not too shabby. Hey, Gazoo, 108 last night going into midnight. How's that? Thank you, C-Note. You see the new Cash App they put up there? C-Note? Money sign Hootie's Club? Got some good people on here. All right, so the Bengals, Gino, is Burrow, right? Joe Burrow, right? So who's the Chiefs quarterback? Tell you, since 04, I only took action in 2009, 2010, and then I got pinched. That was overseas. No, I hear you. I was ready to pay. I was waking up for the last train out of Jersey to get into New York, and they shut everything down. Mahomes. Oh, so what do you? I got a Mahomes card somewhere. Picked up a Mahomes card on a trade. No Burrows, man. You get a nice Burrows rookie. Woo! Dobie, the guy talks like he's either a mob boss or law enforcement, and he comes up with the most outrageous things. I try to be a nice guy to everybody. I don't go on IG, Dobie. So when I do, if you write me, I always tell anybody I'll get back to you within 24 hours. He's the reason why I don't get back to people in 24 hours anymore, because he says the craziest shit and I will not let anybody ever get me jammed up again. Why is Richard's name come up? Who's Richard? Who's Richard, Keith? Where's Richard? I don't know. The only reason why this person knows Livonia area in Brownsville is because she lived there at one time. Jojo Mush is a blowjob. With the red hair, I dated a niece. She had a daughter named Lisa. She died. She died of something. I won't say what it is because she was a great lady with the red hair. She used to take care of me all the time and always went out of her way on my birthday because I had all my birthdays in the back of Aldo's. Yes. Her niece was my childhood girlfriend when I moved out of City Line. Beautiful Italian girl. And her daughter's name was Lisa, and them two were best friends. They were first cousins. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. And then everybody else that came after her, I was going out with at the time. Not going out, we were going out to clubs afterwards. I was the younger. They were all 8 to 10 years older than me. But the lady that you're talking about, there's about 3 or 4 people on here right now that know her. She's the only redhead to ever work at Aldo's. She's one of his original waitresses. I want to respect her memory. Yeah, Boss Gennaro, he's got it up there. $ Hootie's Club. That's the one. You're talking about the waitress, right, from Aldo's? Mommy loved her. My mother loved her. Oh, listen to me. Jojo Mush. See? Where's Dobie? Dobie. If I was gonna block anybody, this cop calling Lion Twatzola would be blocked. Listen, that's a bitter ex, Nick. Don't even get involved. She's been ruining my life for the last 20 years. John Panisi. That stuttering prick. I'm the least on my mind is that fucking stuttering prick. But I like the word envious. Oof. Yup. Because she was there before I can remember. And I'm going back to kindergarten. She was the waitress there. Nick S. PAFBI? Who's that? Carmine, good to see you on here. Rangers or Islanders? Well, the last time I watched hockey, I'm not a hockey guy. The bald-headed guy. He married the guy's daughter from O'Neill's in Maspeth. What's his name? Messier on the Rangers. That was the last time I watched him. And Messier played for the Rangers. He married a local girl in Queens. Thank you, Keith. Much appreciated. Thank you, Lee. I just wish everybody would listen and just pay attention because it all comes together if you listen to me. And it does nothing but make sense. Envious is a cop word, 100%. And she's a cop caller. No, like I said, I stopped all sports years back. I don't know what happened to, 108 Park was in here religiously. And he'd call me on my shit. And he also would compliment where compliments would do. But he only called me on my shit that wasn't really my shit. But I wonder what happened to 108 Park. Billy Bob Jones. Hootie. That's right, Keith. The Brooklyn in you. Everybody's always trying to scam you for something. Go Raiders. Oh, they're the Nevada Raiders now, right? No, tried to. Asking me to do this, asking me to let him manage me, asking me to do that, 1,000 things. Listen, I got nothing against the guy, but I got nothing with the guy either. He's not blocked. He's just all the way at the bottom of my DMs because I'm done talking with him. I'm good right where I am, right what I'm doing. I don't need to be bothered with that. I don't want no get rich quick schemes, I should say. Excuse me. I don't want anything to do with any of that. I'll take my hourly wages and I'll be fine for the rest of my life. Let's get some carne asada fries, bro. What? I don't know what that means, Billy Bob. Maybe I'm not reading it correctly. Matt Sierra? No. He just came off like one. And you keep saying makes no sense. It don't make no sense that you're telling me he's a street guy. Because he didn't talk like a street guy. Just talk like a guy that had get-rich-quick schemes. That doesn't work for me. You don't need me to get rich quick. If you got it already and you can do it, you don't need me. So When someone's calling you up, telling you they can make you rich, that's usually one or two things. Not a street guy, a swindler, or a cop. Like I said, as a person, maybe a good guy. I don't know. I'm not jamming myself up. We don't need to keep going forward with this, Dobie. That's it. I got nothing to do with the guy. T-Bag 16. The young kid you're talking about? That his father cut the muffins. Freddie was a nice young kid. He wouldn't be with him. Very much, much, much younger. No, only pleasure, Nico. Only pleasure in Boston. Of course, basketball tournaments. They're probably one of the only parks that I like, the older guys there. Because, God rest his soul, Dougie Ruggiero used to live across the street with his roommate, Timmy. And the Dusters baseball coach. The Dusters was like the team that I wanted to make. I played on the traveling team right underneath the Dusters. And that's when my mother passed away and my baseball career ended. I would have been a junior Duster and hopefully have made, the senior Dusters. That was all St. Sylvester's. Keith knows. We played for the Rockies. And what was Owen, the president of St. Sylvester's baseball team? We weren't on his. I didn't play for him, and I played for Keith's uncle in the summer league. No, is that your uncle? Is that Michael Dolan's father? He had the summer league. I remember that. I know I played better that year than Michael, and he got MVP. So I know it had to be somebody in the family that gave him MVP. Because I definitely hit better and played better field. But that was when we were young. Oh, I haven't ate Mexican in a long time. Oh, Billy Bob. That's my retirement dream is San Diego. I want to be in Southern Cali when I get laid to rest. I want it to be 85 and no wind, no humidity. Carmine it's in the name. It's money sign Hootie's Club, Carmine. We had to change it up. Nico. Money sign Hootie's Club. A lot easier. That would be great. Because there's just as many backstabbers, Gino. That she was there the longest. Nobody was there longer than her. MB, which, like I said, was a very good friend. We used to go out. I used to go out with that crowd. They were older than me. Big Daddy and all of them that's what I said when I was playing Black 17 earlier, when I was 16, 17 years old. They were all in their 20s. But the one that I was talking about, Keith was talking about, Kazoo was talking about, she was the original waitress, going back to my 5-year-old birthday. You know how long ago that was? And Kazoo's going back longer than that, because he's older than me. She was their oldest waitress there. She passed away from something. There you go, Dobie. I don't know what you're talking about. Never. Nickname. There's only one nickname, and it's Hootie. And held me down with what? Because I would never accept anything from him. Okay, Dobie. That's where we get cut in conversation. You could stay on, but our conversation's over. Giuseppe Vella. John Panisi. What the fuck are you talking about? John Panisi was never on the street when I was on the street. What do you? It makes no sense. I don't. JR. I don't even know who JR is. I tell you, people come on here, they write things that make no sense. Yes, so Billy Bob Jones. No joke. San Diego's absolutely beautiful. No, I'm thinking of Freddie. Freddie's younger than me. How could he be with anybody? Freddie had an older brother who was a nice kid. Freddie had an older brother. None of them, they lived on the corner of 89th Street and 95th Avenue. That's where their corner was. The painter. His father was the painter. They all painted, the whole family. Father was a money guy. He had the club around the corner from John Sr. after John's brother Richie gave it up. He got the club, the painter, and then little Peter got the club from him. That was Savati's father. And the uncle was Mike, who ran the games, the card games for Ronnie G. The Uncle Mike by the old Pizza Hut on 95th Avenue. They took that place over. So, you know, that's the Cash App. They kept that under wraps because, you know, a lot of people in the... Richie, you must know, you must be very tight to the chest with Cosa Nostra because a lot of people don't know that, because the reason being is that somebody in Fat Andy's family named their kid after Tony Lee because supposedly he didn't have one. Cash apps, you know. There you go. That's how I know who you are. That's exactly what happened. And that's why I never came around again. That's why I should have never been pinched with them in 2011. Because I walked away in 2005. So let's not... Jojo Mush, you know truth. Cop calling twat. Oh, old Howard. Richie Heck. He got pinched on that case. He made bail. I don't know if he did time or got probation. His sister married a kid on our block, Sal, that we all grew up with. Keaton Ozone, we all know him. Former Marine, still works for the VA. His father's a wise guy. His younger sister married him. He's got a younger brother, too. T-Bag, Richie Heck. He used to hang out. Richie Heck and Eric Battaglia used to see them running around in elite scooters. Not my cup of soup. You're talking about when it was on 101st Avenue, 77th Street, Keith? Yeah, Keith. I just didn't mention his first name. The Kings. That's who Owen coached. I played for Jeff, the child molester, on the Rockies. Me, Gennaro. There was a lot of us on that team. Jose up the block, Eli. That was the first time I got to get out of the boroughs as a kid, playing on a traveling team. We were one game away from winning the championship. Victor, that lived on your block. What was his name, Keith? Victor. Played the outfield for us and pitched. I liked Victor. I always ran into him over the years, playing organized sports through St. Sylvester's. Jose was a coach of the team that I was supposed to be on. Remember Jose, the coach? His son played. Alex, the brother, they lived on, I think they lived up the block from you on Atlantic Avenue, Keith. Maybe after the book, Billy Bob. Yeah, got a lot of events, Joseph. I'll be down there most of the summer. Yeah, remember after we won, Keith, we all went in the pool in your backyard. Remember? And that's where Michael got the MVP. Your cousin. How's he doing? Ain't seen him in a minute. Man, you're going deep, Keith, man. My memory's long, but holy shit. Yeah, that poor kid got buried, Fat Nick. That should have never happened to him. He wasn't that type of kid. Woo, Keith, boy. Bringing back some oldies. Your cousins. I remember, wow, now bringing it back. The block parties on your block. John Holmes, wow, now you're bringing back every Kevin. Lived up the block first, and he always hung out at your house. Oh, my God. Your sister, your cousins. Oh, she was always, they were your cousin was hot, and her friends were always hot. Look, they were older than us. Wow, you just brought me way back. We're talking about sandbox days, elementary school. Joe Karate. Is this the Joe Karate? Then you go on my Nemesis page and give him props, and he's one of the worst fake content organized crime guys. He's never even did a real bid. Joe, you come on my page, I show you nothing but respect. Always welcome on here. No, I just admitted on YouTube that he said he could. And I didn't go any further than that, Dobie. You're not going to put words in my mouth. No, because you're probably him. No, he said he could. And anybody that tells me that they could, I don't want it. What is so hard to understand? That's not disrespectful. When a guy wants to pass on something, he's allowed to pass on something. I don't know what it was, what it could be, because I never took it that far. Nor will I ever with anybody. If you're able to do that, go out and do it. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. But I'll pass on whatever it would have been. Oh, that was probably later on. Because when he was doing that summer league, your father, Owen was still the president of St. Sylvester's. That's when we used to hang out on Grant and McKinley on the steps. There was that priest you guys were all cool with. I only was there. We hung out there all the time, but I was only there on Wednesdays for religious instructions for St. Sylvester's. The rest of you, you all went there. Remember down the block from your house, there was some kind of church. We used to play football in their yard, and the cops gave us a bad beating that one time. Do you remember that? They chased us all, and I was gone. But little Derek couldn't make the roof, so I waited for him and caught him, and he ran in one direction, I ran in the other, and I ran in the direction of the 75th precinct, and they gave us a fucking beating. Who was with me? Tall Edwin, I think, was with me at the time. They went to work on us for kids. That was my favorite league. Even though the Rockies traveling team was like, the premier, and you got to play against Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, the Bronx. The Summer League was the most fun because it was really all of us. There was a lot of people we knew from the neighborhood. Well, from East New York, Cypress Hills, City Line. The old East New York days. John Holmes played with us too. Whatever happened to him? John was a funny kid. What's MB? I don't know, going back, MB. Crowd of MB. I can give you all their names if they're from Ozone Park. Really, Joe Karate? That's nice. Why would he? I wasn't friends with him. I know Little Sal, but he drove the Cadillac CTS. 75th Street, Pickett Avenue, between Pickett and Glenmore. His whole family lived on my block, 76th Street. He lived on 75th. No, DC. I know what you're talking about. Thanks, Harvest. He does see ghosts. And people are on here bragging about who's at his baptism. Sure, Nico. I definitely did. Jojo Pellegrino. You got to moisturize, Billy Bob. Cocoa butter. You got to get the best stuff around for your skin in this New York weather. Thank you, Ali. I don't know who cares about that. Yeah. He was nice. I liked him because he was closer in age to the kid Sal married his sister. And Sal was like another little brother growing up because his older brother and me were good friends. His older brother, we were talking the story earlier, was the one with the frozen snowballs on the block. And he hit my friend in the eye, wanted to kill him. Hey, John, good to see you on here, pal. Hey, John, you got to be a little bit more specific because that's probably the only guy who wasn't his driver. Unless you're talking about Bobby Borriello, that was his driver. There was a few guys that was his driver. So are you talking about Bobby Borriello? Because he was well respected. He got killed. I gave them a tour of the 2 feet that's outside. It's up to the door. I can't even go get the shovel to shovel the pathway out. I did. I put him on to try to help him to get off drugs. I wanted to help him get off drugs, and he didn't want to get off drugs. And then he went on and lied. He's not Italian. He was in a gang that never did anything. He's not a part of, and yes, yep, AC show as well. But the other kid's a garbage pail. You're going to go on and watch JC, that's fine. Stacks is a garbage pail. And you go on there, the guy has no content. Never been anywhere, has never done nothing. Never been to New York. Never left Connecticut. been caught in 1,000 lies. Lee Cole caught him in 1,000,000 lies. He's been caught on lies on every show he's been on. He's been chased by everybody. He's got the balls to say he's going to take Sammy the Bull's G card. The guy's never done anything in his life. He caught emphysema at 40 years old from smoking and dope. You want to go on and listen to a guy like that who's got no stories, who's never done anything? Come on. I never said he was the real deal, Joe. Never in a million years. Said he was a gang member and a recovering addict. Nobody's the real deal. Recovering addict. Nobody. To play travel. Now this live is saying you left the boroughs playing. What are you talking about, Dobie? When I was a kid? You know what I had to do for that? I had to sell raffle tickets for the church. And the guys in the club bought them all. And I played in sneakers, not even cleats. And someone gave me a glove. That's how I played on a traveling baseball team when I was 11 years old, Dobie. Really? You will be ignored, douche. I seen them down in, you know what? I seen them down in your area on a beach cruise on the boardwalk. They had a pizzeria over there or something. He was running a pizzeria or he owned a pizzeria. Remember his brother Joey? Right? What was their last names? Joey was the brother. Always getting into trouble. Died of a heart attack at a young age. He used to stay with Dave Martinez. That was his best friend. Dave might have been with him when he died. Right, Joey? Was always causing trouble. Hung out at 64 Park. Gennaro was a nice kid, but then he turned weird too. And one day just never said hello again. We were kids. Anthony, have a great week. Be safe in the city, pal. It's always a pleasure to see you. And it's always a pleasure to see you post on Facebook whenever I go on. Love reminiscing. Stop at any time. We'll talk Ozone Park City Line days. We'll talk Associated days when Associated had a building in its parking lot, Anthony. I don't think many people remember that. I don't think too many people remember when the building was inside the parking lot of Associated. Cool. Cool was the Centerville pot dealer. He used to sell pot. Drive around in his vet and sell pot. Never changed my story. That guy was never the real deal for anything. If you listen to the stories, Joe, actually make fun of he was part of a gang that did nothing when I interviewed him. And he said all they did was walk around causing trouble. And he was beat up by everybody in his gang for sleeping with their girlfriends, their wives, or trying to. No. I was trying to get the guy clean, so I would go on with him every morning. He'd catch me half asleep after working 2 jobs and beg me to go on because he thought he was going to slip and get high, and he was getting high behind my back the whole time. So do me a favor. You want to represent a junkie, don't come over here. At least represent a junkie that was in the life or in the streets or had a fight or two. The only fight that he ever had, he used the weight and he got beat up. So please, don't come on here talking nonsense. You remember Jose, right? He was a good coach, and he never raised his voice. Never raised his voice, remember? 6'5'3", remember that infield? Third base shortstop. 6'5'3", 137, 7'9". I can't even remember the infields now. It's been so long. Yes. He lived off of Atlantic Avenue. He had an older brother that played in the older teams in all the leagues up there. Yeah. He lived on Fallbell, towards Atlantic Avenue. It's the same, Alex. Good for him. Because they were heading in a direction. He used to stay with some kids that were up to no good. I hung out with them for a while. Kid Omar, Brother Bird, used to call him. Yeah, he never shot the cab driver, buddy. Yeah, I still see him to this day. That's when I go. Well, I haven't went back in a while, but he's actually doing very well for himself. He's out of trouble. Doesn't commit crime anymore. Yeah, that's when you was with kids. And then he moved to 77th Street, and that's when me and him became friends. When he was a kid, he lived across the street from you guys. That's how, why you were so close. And then he moved to 77th and Liberty. And that's when I remember his mother. She was a beautiful lady, but he wasn't allowed to. You know, how everybody used to hang out at my house. Imagine that. That little maniac wasn't allowed to hang. I was a bad influence on him. His mother used to think. She was a great lady. She worked in the jewelry store up City Line. Desiree. You know, his mother and my mother were like a month apart, passed away. And I went to the plot one Sunday, and I seen the father there. They passed away like a month apart, and then they were in a section apart in Cypress Hill Cemetery. But there was something wrong with the ground, so I had to move my mother to the Middle Village side. I was always connected to that kid for some reason. From protecting him when he was so small to craziness when we got older. So both of us losing our mother at the same time. Yeah, those guys are Howell Beach. That's a little out of my realm right in the last 15 years. Nico, Jojo Pellegrino, yeah, he was stand absolutely. Yeah, I didn't want to throw that out there, Keith, because I know he's family, but that's what I was talking about with Green Bus Lines, Skitchin. Remember, he wasn't your uncle. He married Jason's mother's sister, and they went crazy. He used to drive the Q8. But I didn't want to. I didn't know you were going to put that up there. You know, sir, Adam. That was my very good friend from the Colombo family. Very good friend. Saraceno. He got screwed because he got caught talking, and he beat that trial. He beat that trial. He beat that trial in Brooklyn, man. And he still was in good spirits after he got sentenced. Dino always got a smile on his face. I always remember him from the St. Rosalia feast. He was one of the only guys that always used to come down once a week, twice a week, and play cards with us. Thank you, Joe. It used to be a lot better. Years ago. I stopped about 3 years ago. I only collected for about the last 3 years. Before I went in, it was insane. Oh, then you get buried here. The Shark. I don't know that nickname. Nico. The Shark. Who was John? Oh, Adam, I don't know you're talking to me. Joseph, listen, that's okay. You can pick apart. That's fine. I vouched for a junkie, and he stabbed me in my back. I got no reason to lie about that. I vouched for a junkie who did jail time for no reason, had nothing to do with organized crime, and I wanted to help him in the social media world. I wanted to produce him. He wanted me to do the show because he ain't got my personality. So I take the blame for that. I invented him. I left him with 2,000 subs. I got him started, but he buried himself anyway. He'll be off the air soon. He's a liar. He's been caught in every lie about everything. And he talks about everybody. Well, your nickname's Karate, so I thought you were a karate guy. John Pellegrino? What are you talking about? The Shark, John? Yes, Nico. Very much so. He is. At Hootie282 on IG. GSGSGBSHSSG. I'm asking you, but you're not. You got my attention. I don't know what MB means. I don't know what those mean. So if you want to, hit me up at Hootie282. Everybody on here should be, following me on IG so we can push up the numbers, get me verified. Because I ain't paying for shit. I ain't paying for subs. I ain't paying for followers. It's all got to be legit. Father John. What? I mean, he seemed like a nice enough guy with you guys. Did he turn out to be a nice enough guy? Or did he turn out like the rest? Because he seemed like a nice enough guy. I don't know him. I know that's Rick Campos and, Hip and Sal. There's a lot of guys, Nico, that we can name up there. You want to see how much Hootie knows? We'll go through the Bronx guys. Never, Adam. Never. Never. In a street gang that never did anything. Couldn't even spell gangster with an A. Cholos are the homies, Billy Bob. There you go, Adam. That's all. See, I don't know how people don't see this. Pull an episode out where you see me fall apart in questions. He fell apart because his whole persona, his whole game is fake. There you go, Paul. Joe, you went on there, you were greeting him like he was the best thing since sliced bread. And I wouldn't, listen, go on somebody's show that's got content, that talks real street stuff, that doesn't interview the same guy who said that that he was the guy interviews the same guy every week and says he was in on whacking the Pope. That's a guy that you want to sit around and listen to? How could you want to listen to a guy who interviews another guy every week who says he was in on whacking the Pope? Come on. It's like comical. No, definitely not, Richie G. Yeah, no. Oh, come on. I mean, that's just the guy that came on here didn't tell anybody who he was, who his last name was, and talk bad about everybody. If you're gonna come on and make your show about talking bad about people, then you gotta tell people who you are and you gotta face them. I didn't make a YouTube channel to talk about people. Made a YouTube channel to talk about the life and times of Hootie and his Ozone Park stories. That's it. These guys come on here to make a channel and get a name for themselves to talk bad about other people. That's exactly what it was, Adam. And he said it in the interview. Okay, Pat, you gotta fighting right there, Pat. I can't. I got no debate with that. I got nothing to say either way on that. That's all, boss. I thought I seen a few more come in. Only 2 cash apps? Really? I thought there was like 4 people. He didn't say he wasn't a bad guy, Swag. He said he didn't say he wasn't a. He didn't say he wasn't a good guy. Because if he would have said, I would have corrected that. He definitely is a good guy, Swag. That wasn't what was said. Content was said. Oh, they're the worst. They got no street stories. How can you be in true crime if you don't have anything growing up, doing anything? My man Keith's in here, and he's one of the nicest guys I ever met, and that you'll ever meet. And he was in the streets more than half the people, probably 3/4 of the people that are in this genre. From East New York, one of the only white kids, played on every sport team throughout East New York. His father coached through East New York, knew everybody up and down Cypress Hills in East New York, and he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And he's got probably more street content than all you guys on here. Well, they said that like he used to fucking molest half his team, Keith. And I remember seeing him at the bowling alley where they stuck up Fabulous got stuck up in front of that bowling alley on what was that? 97th Street? What was that? 97, 98, 99th Street. By the old well, it's still the old. I keep thinking the old Genovese used to be the original White Castles. A lot of people don't know that. Where White Castles is now is actually the new place. But back in the 80s, it was where Genovese was on 97th Street. But yeah, 99th Street. He used to bowl there with the umpire from that used to be able to recall any baseball game or any event. You know, the guy used to listen to the radio. That was Jeff's Crimey. And supposedly they said that he used to molest the players on his team. Because after my mother died, I stopped playing. I was ready to move up, so I didn't get to know him that well. All the other kids were with him for the junior Rockies to the senior Rockies. I played on the senior Rockies, and that was it. Good for John. I like John. He always had a smile, never had a bad word to say. I was. That's how I paid to get on the traveling team. I think it was $45 or $55. And then you had to get the uniform or something. The most embarrassing thing I ever had to do to play ball, but I didn't have to do it. I just brought it to the club. They bought the whole thing. John, you're hitting the nail right on the head, but he wasn't his driver. Because she follows me on Facebook. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about, but he wasn't Senior's driver. Maybe he picked up the dry cleaning, I don't know. He was around, but nothing, he wasn't his driver. Sean McCarthy used to run a pizza shop. Where, Adam? Where was the pizza shop? No, different Same last names, I think, different family. Yo, Joe, you got nothing but respect on this chat until everybody's seen you in Stax's chat, hamming him up, rubbing his knees for him. That wasn't me. You know, people went over to see what he was talking about, and you're in there greeting the guy like he's Don Cheech. Ozone Park and City Line was soft areas, Adam. Wow. Really? I lost count on how many homicides when I was a kid that were in like a 5 block radius of my house. Soft area, huh? All right. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Oh my God, C-Note. You know, there's like 100 people. You know, that's my good friend Gene's family. There's about 100,000 cousins and brothers and sisters and everything else. Nah, that was a heroin overdose off of Rockaway Boulevard. I know what you're talking about. Michael's his brother. There's one running around right now, Jimmy Lines. There's so many of them. I couldn't even begin to tell you. Billy was the older one. Yeah, Nico. The guy just said Ozone Park was soft, and he said City Line was soft. Shit. When the street light came on, if you got caught in City Line, you was getting an ass whipping if you didn't know anybody, or you was getting stabbed or shot in City Line. Keith, we know OZ and City Line went hard. City Line was rough. I can't count and how many fights in City Line. I had beef with everybody up City Line. Remember little Black Gregory? And it was his brother, Black Dave or Black Mike. He was supposed to be the toughest guy in Lincoln. He lived next to Johnson. I whipped his ass good, and then they jumped me good. All of them, that whole crew from Lincoln. And then from the other side, going towards the Linden houses. They hung out with those kids. The kid Omar's older brother. But I whipped Gregory's ass good. They thought he was the baddest kid up there. Rob Johnson brought me up there. Teardrop's nephew. He was in my class. He robbed Omar. And then they came down to 75th Street, and I was on the corner, and there was nobody in sight. And they gave me some ass whipping. Stole my starter hat. I had a Chicago Bulls starter jacket that I had for like 4 years I wouldn't let go of. They wrecked it, but I wasn't letting it go. But they got my starter hat. I tried to get him into, what you ask me? It was no beef. I called him up one day because somebody that was living close to him and hanging out with him found out that he was going hard with the drugs because he was getting money from YouTube. And I tried to get him into a rehab and tell him, you know, and he told me he didn't have a problem, and it just escalated from there. That was it. Try to get the guy into rehab. He was, Adam. 100%. I put him on, got him 1,800 to 2,000 subs, helped him every day, helped him with his sobriety, everything. And then he turned on me. No good deed goes unpunished. And I take all the blame. I take all the blame. I let a junkie get over on me. Because we never talked about the traveling team like that. There's a kid on here who I played for his father's baseball team in the summertime who actually let me play for free, didn't charge me. We all played as friends. So he brought the story up in the chat. We all played for the same teams in East New York, Brooklyn when we were younger. So wasn't a story that I needed to bring up. Joke right. 100%. You could go on any show and see the lies. And I say it all the time. I take the blame. I helped him get on the air. I got him 1,800 to 2,000 subs. He thought that he was Superman and went back to the drugs and didn't want to get help. And I don't get involved. I don't need fast money making scams. I don't need to make money fast. I get up and go to work for two jobs, Costco and FedEx. I don't need nothing. Keep the lights on, keep the heat on, and I'm good. I'm skating through life. I try to help this guy out. And again, it's tough helping out a recovering addict because as soon as they get high again, they make you out to be the bad guy. And that's what happened. I did nothing but right by the guy. You know, he's a reformed gang member that was part of a gang that didn't do nothing. Never had a fight, never won a fight. Always got beat up, which there's nothing wrong with it as long as you fight back. He didn't. His friends were constantly beating him up. He wasn't getting beat up by strangers. He was just a world-class loser. And I was trying to revive him into being a social media interviewer, not an LCN street guy. He was supposed to learn how to interview people. You know, like David Letterman isn't Bradley Cooper. He is the interviewer. And Bradley Cooper's the guest. That's what I was trying to help Stax become. And he wanted to become a gangster. His father went from being Irish and something else to being Italian. How do you change your father's heritage? I don't know. Swag Lord, I don't know. I don't challenge anybody. If the guy says Ozone Park was soft, maybe he was from Brownsville, where they had the highest murder rate in 1987 in the country. I don't know. But he says it was soft. I don't remember it because I got a lot of ass whippings. And I fought. It wasn't because I didn't fight. It was just that hard. They were going that hard at me. Never. Never. He said when he wrote him a 4-page letter and not one word was spelled correctly. It was such an embarrassment to me that I had to try to make it up to Vlad and apologize, and he understood. He thought that he was part of the special needs program, he asked me. And I said, no, he's just naturally fucked up from all the drugs he's done. Never in a million years. Wouldn't even talk to him. Wouldn't even talk to him. I brought him up there, and it was nothing but an embarrassment. First of all, if we're going to disrespect somebody, it would be to his back, not to his back. We do it to his front. And I don't need to disrespect somebody that's older than my father. So I can think whatever I want about a person, but nobody in my crew disrespected a made guy behind his back. So that's another clown story. Joseph, you are 100% right. But I had a friend, and he was very well connected into a drug treatment program, inpatient. And he said, if you're going to do this thing, I didn't know what direction I was going in. I was producing, I was writing. I knew I was going to do a show. I didn't need anybody to do a show for myself. And this kid reached out to me and told me every single person you see him talking to now hung up on him when he called them in the beginning. Nostra, nothing. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. Let's get off of it. methadone clinic. The guy's not even on my level. You're 100% right. So, appreciate. Oh, Nita, don't worry about it. It's so sweet of you to even say that. You know, don't worry about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. Go over to at Hootie282 on my IG. Follow me. You'll see my post there. And I'll drop some content and then we'll do a live. And we'll talk about what we put up next. So yeah. So you're saying Joey, who worked for Art, before I sign off here, worked for Art, died with the mother Rosemary? Wow. Remember, I guess you remember MS. Anna from the neighborhood, elderly lady. Yes, of course. At Hootie282, and we'll talk more. And buddy, I went into California, not Texas. Juarez is nowhere near it. Stay up and Jindan.